Okay, the first ones we're going to look at are release points on the neck. Now, again, we're looking at controlling the person's movements. We're looking at releasing the strength in the neck itself. Some of the points you'll have seen me talk about before, and others you may not have heard me talk about before in this distance training program. So we're going to start off with the first point. The first point is stomach 4. As we know, I'll just get Dave to turn sideways. As we know, the stomach channel has got 2 branches in the head, and then it branches into one going into the neck, if you remember back to the disc on the stomach channel. So you've got stomach 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. As you can see, on perfect with Dave's beard, actually. Okay, so where the moustache comes down and meets the beard, just in that hollow there, at the corner of the mouth, is stomach 4. It goes across to stomach 5 here, stomach 6, stomach 7, stomach 8, and then it comes down like a U shape, and it branches into the neck at 9 and 10. The point that we're looking at is the stomach 4 point. Now, again, I'll show it in isolation, and we'll look at some combat aspects to it, okay, and different ways of using the point. So if Dave makes his neck strong, so I'm going to try and turn his head, okay? So try and turn his head, and he makes it strong, and it's difficult for me to turn. I could use a lot of physical force to try and turn it, okay, but the dim mak points make it easier. So what I'm going to do is Dave just turns slightly this way. I'm going to place, I could use the tip of my thumb, but I'm going to use this mid-knuckle here on my thumb to turn, activate the point. The angle and direction for this technique is 45 degrees in and down. So we're going to go onto the point, press in and down onto the point is the first way of affecting it. So from here, I'm placing my mid-knuckle on that point. So now Dave makes his head strong again. I touch the stomach 4 point and brush in and down. So I tilt my hand slightly as I press in and down, and it releases the neck muscle straight away. Okay? Yep. You've got to be careful because it can whiplash the neck. Now, obviously, whiplashing the neck, is bad enough. Ultimately, as soon as you touch that point and activate it, the neck will release and it'll whip round. If you continue that action, then obviously there's potential damage for the cervical spine. Okay, so you need to be mindful of that with your training partner when you go for the technique. But very, very useful. Anytime you do manipulations and you're coming onto that stomach 4 point, okay, so you want to whip that neck round, okay, to put a neck crank on or anything else, that's really useful. Okay, so again, stomach 4, corner of the mouth, 45 degrees in and down. All right, 45 degrees in and down. Thumb knuckle on here. Now, also, if you remember on the theory of the quadrants of the body, if I push on Dave's chin here, okay, and I place my hand on the opposite side on his neck, and I push, it's strong, and I can still turn his head, but it's not as effective. So what I want to do is split Dave's head down the centre this way. Not literally. Okay? Split it across, sort of the nose level, and then I draw a line down the side here. So I'm dissecting the head into 4 quadrants at the front and 4 quadrants at the back. So what we want to do is the furthest from the point of attachment, in other words, the stomach 4, where I'm going to affect the point, I go, the more effective it is. So in this instance, if I'm going for stomach 4 here, the furthest point away, if this is facing you, is the lower side here, the furthest point away is the top here, on the opposite side at the back. So if I touch here and touch here, now when I release the neck, it releases it really easily. Okay, so this is the principles using the quadrants on the body, and we'll go into more detail as time goes on into that. But that's really useful. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to put it into a context of combat. Now, one way, if Dave was grabbing onto here, if Dave was pushing me back, okay, here, where his head faces is where his power is going to go. All right, so if Dave's pushing me back here, then whilst he's facing me, obviously he can headbutt me and do all sorts of stuff, but his strength is forward, his strength is pushing forward, and he could drive me back quite easily. All right? So what I need to do is, for me, using stomach 4, is turn the head. Now, once his head's turned, I can control the head movements, and we'll look at other points as well afterwards in relation to this. But from here, so Dave's forward. So what I'm going to do is, rather than press the point, this time I'm just going to rap on it like I'd be rapping on a door, like I'm knocking on a door. I'm just going to use the first knuckle or the middle knuckle. So just tap down. And as you tap down, be careful with your training partner because you can chip the jaw quite easily with this. Okay, and break it. So for training partner, for training purposes, get them to keep the teeth closed. All right? If the teeth are open, it's going to basically cause your training partner some problems. So from here, onto here, I'm going to wrap down with that knuckle onto stomach 4. As I tap down, okay, I turn the head. Now if Dave tries to drive me back, see what he's doing himself. as he tries to drive me back, he can't because the more I just move my hand away so you can see. If Dave tries to push back, he's driving his own head back. Okay, he's putting a neck crank on himself. Now, obviously, it's a dynamic situation. Things are going to change. But I would finish the situation. I would finish the fight at this point, so I'm going in for a finishing strike. But this is just showing you how, by controlling the cervical spine through the stomach 4, it's turning the head, it's got that neck crank, and basically he can't drive me back. All right. So again, from here, in, I'm not going to tap him hard this time because it's not pleasant. All right. But you wrap down on the stomach 4, you tap down, release the neck, okay, and now push into the side of the face, and this will maintain that position. Like I said, then you can go for a finishing strike into large intestine 18 point or small intestine 16 point, which you should know because we've covered those on previous discs.